Hello, Xyle. I've been pondering how to approach this for a couple days. I keep seeing people getting confused by animism in Norse Pagan tradition. It's easy to see the pantheons, the deities, the Aesir and Vanir gods, the Thursar and Jotun, the dwarves, the elves. But where does the animism come into this? See, to me, it should be the other way around. The pantheons should create the confusion. It gets a little easier when we realize all of the deities of the pantheons represent base forces, sources of energy and how they act and react through interactions. But let's take everything I've said to this point and set it aside for a moment. And let me explain how animism and polytheism within Norse paganism works for me. Base scientific knowledge says all things are energy. Energy and mass. And mass, everything mass, is made up of atoms. And atoms, of course, contain protons, neutrons, and electrons. So there's energy even within mass. Energy vibrates. And each form of energy has its own vibration, its own wavelength. So each mass is vibrating its own wavelength, and we can sense or measure this vibration by what it's emitting. It emits an aura. All things emit auras. Now this takes us back to animism. Animism is the belief that all things have spirit. So if we take the scientific knowledge and simply replace energy with spirit, now it makes sense. All things emanate an aura from the spirit that resides within, the energy that resides within. And each wavelength of energy interacts with others in very specific ways. Everything has its own qualities, its own attributes. So now the pantheon comes into play. If we recognize all things are energy, all things have spirit, and all things are connected, then we start giving them names, personifications, and stories to express the behavior of these specific wavelengths. Then we know how to predict how each wavelength is going to interact with other wavelengths. Our ancestors knew all of this. They simply expressed it differently, in a non-scientific way, in a way that we perceive as a spirituality. And really this is what's happening, is science and spirituality are merging, because science is simply proving what spirituality has been saying all along. One tale comes to mind. At the end of the Aesir-Vanir war, all of the gods spit into a vat. And from this spit was formed Kvasir. Kvasir contained the knowledge of all of the gods. This proves that our ancestors knew. Ancestral DNA carries knowledge. DNA is in our saliva. And by combining the saliva from all of the entities, it combined the ancestral knowledge of all of them. I hope this helps make sense to you of how Norse paganism is rationalized within my mind and how it works for me. And I hope something makes sense and can work for you. Much love.